The Shark Deck.
Hello and welcome to Palace Intrigue. I am your host, Mark Francis. The plan for Tuesday was for Prince Harry to testify in a British courtroom. Aside from that high drama comes the question of whether or not Harry will see family members. The King is conveniently on vacation visiting his holiday home in Romania for 5 days. Camilla is not on the trip. If Harry would like to visit his stepmother, there is no word on a planned connection with William. But the big event of the day will be Harry's testimony in the first of his 5 pending legal cases, largely centered around battles with British tabloids. ABC News observes that if Harry testifies as scheduled, he'd be the first member of the royal family to do so since the late 19th century, when Queen Victoria's eldest son, Prince Albert Edward, testified twice in court. The man who would go on to become King Edward VII testified in the divorce proceedings of a woman he was accused of having an affair with. He denied it, and in a slander case involving a man who cheated at cards. Edward VII was the great-grandfather of Queen Elizabeth II, Harry's grandmother. ABC recaps what this lawsuit is all about. The Daily Mirror case is one of the 3 Harry has brought, alleging phone hacking and other invasions of his privacy dating back to when he was a boy. In court documents, he described his relationship with the press as uneasy, but it runs much deeper than that. The prince blames paparazzi for causing the car crash that killed his mother, the late Princess Diana. He also cites harassment and intrusion by the British press and vicious, persistent attacks on his wife, Meghan, including racist articles, as the reason the couple left royal life and fled to the US in 2020, reforming the news media that has become one of his life's missions. In past cases, Meghan won an invasion of privacy case in 2021 against the Mail on Sunday for printing a private letter she wrote to her father. That led to a £1 settlement for violating her privacy and an undisclosed sum for copyright infringement. The BBC points out Harry has 2 of the key requirements for his legal battle. First, a single-minded determination to keep going without settling, and second, being rich enough to take the financial hit if he loses. But giving evidence in person in this Mirror Group newspaper's hacking trial will have big risks for him. He will face the type of open, public and tough questioning that is a long way from any previous royal interview he has taken part in. I'm Matlin, managing partner of Matlin PR, says this isn't like taking questions from Oprah Winfrey in a celebrity interview. It is a hostile encounter with a highly skilled cross-examiner armed with a battery of techniques to undermine your credibility. Giving evidence is daunting, and cross-examination is far more often traumatic than cathartic, he says. Historian and author Sir Anthony Selden thinks Harry's standing and trajectory will only be harmed whatever the outcome. The public is losing sympathy with him and his constant protestations of victimhood. Harry and Meghan's continuing hard luck stories only make William and Kate look much better in every way. But royal commentator Pauline McLaren thinks taking a stand like this could boost Prince Harry's popularity, particularly among young people. Many young people will see him as quite a heroic figure, fighting the establishment. It could be good for Harry in the long run, even though the older generation will be tut-tutting. Meanwhile, Angela Levin suggests Prince Harry's American dream is collapsing. She told GB News, "I think all of his dreams are collapsing. They are becoming much more like nightmares now because he doesn't know how to be or what to be. And the impression I get is that Meghan isn't there to help him in the same way that if you really love somebody, you would be. I actually think it's going to be very, very difficult for him. And although I'm extremely annoyed at him, I can't recognize what he's like. I do feel sorry for somebody in such a state that they don't know where to turn or how to manage. And he's created this for himself, a whole pool of negativity. He's fed up with things not working out for him. It's one thing trying to change the press in this country all alone. One single man doing that is just impossible for him. And he's got nowhere where he can feel positive and build on himself. We're seeing the hypocrisy for years now. Don't you fly the planes, I'm going to fly on planes. Be compassionate, but not to anybody within that family. I think that's what we've got used to, but I spent quite a while looking at the USA and what they do about drugs, and if they feel that somebody's in remission, they will give them another chance, so they don't actually just wipe it out. But what the point is, whether he's told the truth and not whether he's said that, and that the drugs and that he said he's taken, that it's also on scale, they actually don't do it as toughly as I initially thought. Cocaine is a drug, and you can't have it, and he's had it. A federal judge will hear an argument from the Heritage Foundation this week who want to unseal Prince Harry's US immigration records to find out whether he disclosed his drug use on the application. If not, it could lead to him being turfed out of the country. Palace Intrigue will be right back.
I'm Kate.
And I'm Corinne.
We host the podcast Pop Fiction Women,
where we deep dive into the best books, TV, and movies,
as well as the women creating them.
So who are we?
Corinne is a lawyer who worked on Wall Street. She loves psychological thrillers that keep her guessing and has a soft spot for messy women trying to break cycles of addiction and self-sabotage.
And Kate is a litigator who worked at some of the top international law firms. She loves romantic comedies that keep her swooning and has a soft spot for the ice queens who learn to let their heart lead over their heads.
We cover a range of content like When Harry Met Sally, Fleabag, Yellow Jackets, Normal People, and Tell Me Lies.
And we also interview your favorite authors like Emily Giffin, Tia Williams, and Rebecca Searle.
Where we always ask the most important question of all, what's your sign?
Subscribe or follow Pop Fiction Women wherever you get podcasts.
Would you watch a movie version of Spare? Spare was written by J.D. Mollinger, whose own memoir became a film starring Ben Affleck. The director of that movie was George Clooney, who is said to have introduced the author to Harry. A report suggests Harry and Meghan are hopeful a movie could be made from Spare. A source told the Daily Express, Harry and Meghan are in a win-win position. He will command a top dollar fee for the rights, while involving Archewell would mean a more lucrative double dip. Given the success of Spare and Harry's cachet, he can count on a record or near-record deal. And before the lawsuits distract the rest of the week, let's tell you about Kate being fabulous. While attending the wedding of the Crown Prince Hussein of Jordan, Kate wore two special pieces of jewellery from the royal vault for the banquet that evening: Queen Mary's Lover's Knot tiara and Queen Elizabeth's Greville chandelier earrings. People explains the diamond and pearl Queen Mary's Lover's Knot tiara was a favourite of Princess Diana and has been among Kate's go-to sparklers since her 2011 wedding. The tiara moment was also a first for the princess. It marks the first time that Kate has worn a tiara overseas, as she had previously only worn the headpiece for UK events. Meanwhile, the diamond and platinum Greville chandelier earrings complemented the glittering headpiece and were a thoughtful nod to Queen Elizabeth, who had received the chandelier earrings as a wedding present from her parents, King George VI and Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, when she married Prince Philip in 1947. And there you have it. If you'd like to email us, our address is thepalaceintrigue@gmail.com. Please follow us on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, YouTube, or your favorite app of choice. I'm Mark Francis. My thanks to John McDermott. This is Palace Intrigue, and good times.